So the first muscle group when we're looking at improving flexibility at the lower extremity and what we're going to target today is the quad and hip flexors. So very simply, what we're trying to do with these exercises is put the muscles in a slightly shortened position and then elongate throughout the range of motion, so we're putting them on a slight stretch position. So two exercises that come to mind for the quad and the hip flexors, it's the split squat and the rear foot elevated split squat. Obviously always recommend starting with the easier variation and then progressing from there as you develop more range of motion, but then also with exercises like this, a little more balance and stability as well, since they are in a split stance position. So the split squat exercise, all you're going to do here is split stance, so think lunge stance but stationary. In this position, this back leg is more extended, so from here, that's how we get into position as I lower down to stretch these hip flexors and that quad. All I'm going to simply do here is I'm going to lower down, I'm going to bend my knee. As that knee bends, hips into a little degree of extension, we start to elongate throughout that quad muscle. I'm going to lower down as far as I can comfortably get, and I'm going to push off that front leg to come back up. So very common exercise. I know a lot of people are performing lunges within their program, but very good to throw in if you're doing any kind of self-myofascial release, static stretching, to take that last step to work on elongating that muscle throughout its range of motion during some kind of movement. Okay, so obviously I would work on that both sides, or if I only had a strict restriction on one side, focusing on that one side kind of by itself, just because I want to make sure I'm balanced from left to right. Next progression on that, and to further elongate quad and hip flexor, is what's called the rear foot elevated split squat. So in this position, what I like to do here is, from the regular split squat, just simply place the back foot up on the bench, okay? All that's going to do is going to further flex the knee to stretch the quad, rectus femoris, some of those hip flexor muscles. So if I'm up here on the bench, simply going to lower down, and as you can see there, greater degree of knee flexion, which provides more of a stretch or elongation throughout that. So obviously we would work on the regular split squat first, be able to master that, add some resistance to it before going to the rear foot elevated, just because it's such a greater demand on balance and stability, but you'll get a much bigger stretch when it comes to the quad and hip flexors on that one.